That's why she says, come to me, O Paean, and bring with you the true oracle. My real daughter, I want her back. Which is why you find Draco wrapped around that North Star, pointing the way home, right? And she says, return, return, O Shulamite. What might we see when the Shulamite returns?
Daka! Katu te hi katu te wana ina ko te rangi ye tu
Let her come to me. I have crossed the horizon to find you. I know your name. They have stolen the heart from inside you. But this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. Who you truly are. Tefiti.
Yeah, man, just keep back and listen. You feel me? Don't listen to whether or not you agree with it. How you learn is listen because you have a desire to understand. And the daughter represent understanding. The problem is we are so used to the 12 sons of Israel, they never tell you that Israel have 13 children. One of them is the daughter, and the daughter mean understanding. The purpose of listening, the reason that we listen is for understanding, but we have been programmed to listen for entertainment, and what we want to be entertained is our we want to be validated. We want to be validated as opposed to wanting to learn things that may be outside of what you agree with or what you believe. If you can humble yourself enough to accept, it's a difference between what you believe and what you know. And to strip it down and start from what you know. Start all over again. Recognize, understand, okay, this is what I believe. But let me break this down and start all the way over from what I know. And it's a whole nother story.
Human trafficking is a cult. Slavery got to rebrand like motherfucking the alt-right. And snatched. Another one gone. Every 30 seconds, another chocolate brown, caramel yellow, high yellow, red bone refugee girl with melanin in her skin gets snatched. Every 30 seconds. And to make matters worse, these dazzling new plantation owners built a pipeline to take our children from school to prison quicker than a cut can bleed. And the lucky ones go from school to the NFL, where they don't even let them niggas take a knee. They've been programmed from birth with shitty food options, contaminated drinking water, gun violence, police brutality, and trauma after trauma after trauma. PTSD, no therapy. Missing, no Amber Alert. Alone. Vulnerable. Snatched. Another one gone.
I can't believe we missed this. So we talked about how doves represent women, which is why a dove is used for the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit is female. When the Bible talks about when the dove came down to Jesus, we talked about how that was a woman, Mary Magdalene. But I cannot believe we missed this very crucial thing that was happening right here. Matthew 21:12. It say, and Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all of them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it into a den of thieves. What the guy explained was that, and I can't believe we missed this, is that they were trafficking young girls. They were being involved in temple prostitution. How did we miss this, y'all? How did we miss this? I can't believe we missed this. As many times as I've read this scripture, why didn't I get this? Why? Oh my God. This is crazy work. So they were trafficking young girls in the temple. This is what they was really doing, and why Jesus was so angry.
In time when men were profaning in a very multiple way, they were profaning, they were multiplying profanation. And what? On the daughters that were born to them, to the other men, they were profaning. They were increasing in profanation. That's why Yah decided to destroy them. He destroys us in chapter number 7. Let's deal with who the daughters are. Let's see what a daughter is. What is a daughter? A daughter is called Bath. What's the action of this? What's the ancient Hebrew definition? To build. Build what? A tent. The daughter is a building mechanism for the family. She is the key to building the nation. Why do you think when any country invades another country, the first thing they do is kill all the males? Just like they did Israel and Egypt. They killed all the males so they can have all the daughters and start what? Building a family with them to build their nation. This is what this is all about. To build a family. I have this picture of this woman here because she's a woman in distress. I didn't want to put up a beautiful picture of a woman. I want to show you what it was for our women who've been raped, who have been sodomized, who have been downtrodden, who has been taken advantage of, who's been convinced that you and I as men are not worthy of them. That you and I cannot protect them. And every time we turn around, what do we want to do? We want to replace them with what? Another woman from another nation. Read the book of Ezra chapter 9. It's a violation of the Torah for any man of Israel to be with another woman from another nation. Period. That's what got us into the situation we're in. Read it. It's in the book of Ezra, chapter number 9. Why? Because you're giving your inheritance away. You're assimilating the holy seed. Women are used to build the nation. We cannot let men profane us by taking our daughters. Don't you give your daughter just to anybody. You got to protect her. Because she is going to be the building blocks of the nation.
So Earth, Gaia, is often represented as a nymph, also a goddess at times, of Arcadia, where the local people believe the Nomian Mountains to have been named after her. So the Greek meaning of nomia is law. So what is the mystery of lawlessness? We get told it and they weave it in these stories globally, what they did to her and her well, where she used to prognosticate prophecies. Now, if you want to call the law prophecies, whatever, she was the one that could come and go, is the idea, and receive the information from out there. Now we know the stars exist because of Obadiah 1 when he took control of her well of water and accused her of playing the harlot. After we clearly see here that he pursued her law, he pursued the ones responsible, and it's not just this one. We get many nymphs mentioned in Gaia, so we're going to go over to Gaia in a minute. But he pursued, making his way straight from Mount Parnassus, where the serpent dwelled, and chased it to the oracle, chased her to the oracle of earth, Gaia, at Delphi, at the womb. There he dared to penetrate. He raped her, the sacred precinct, and killed her with his arrows. We get Baal. Another name here would be Baal, husband, bridegroom, lord, and master. That's what he wants to play, your lord and master, telling you he's your head when he took control of her well of water, which according to Joseph's, he used this silver cup to prognosticate hydromancy. He used it to see the mysteries. So he pursued her, he pursued the law, he took control of her well of water, and then we get his seed against her seed coming up and taking control of her law. So you're never going to get out of this place alive. She's the one that was supposed to be the one in the throne of power, and they stole Mother's heart, is your idea. Draco's heart, the dragoness's heart, when they stole her daughter and murdered her. Yeah. And that's what you see the men carrying down in lapis lazuli, this glowing heart, this glowing stone. And they're the ones that removed her heart. Yeah. And she's also the pearl of great price, not by Jesus. Mother's looking for the restoration of her daughter, which is why it takes you to the understandings in Zechariah 5. You know, this is the curse that goeth forth over the whole world. You're cursed because you brought your own curse on your own head. You did not want to receive the truth from her well of water. And then we see a man like Apollo, who is revered as a great god, raping the womb so he could put in place his own oracle, which is Jesus, which is why you get this well written up with, "Oh, come to me." This is the dragon, the dragoness. Come to me. What does it say in Isaiah 64? She turned her back on us and became our enemy. Why would she become our enemy? Because they stole her heart, her daughter that she loved dearly. But they all want to go, it's only son, 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 son. You think mothers don't adore their firstborn daughters, their secondborn daughters, their thirdborn daughters? You think that she don't love her daughters and needs her daughters and recognizes the importance of her own daughters? It's always man and his firstborn son, father and his son, and the women are foolish enough to go along with it and hand their children right over to this law system that creates nothing but bloodshed against us. And yet they tell you in these stories, if you had half a mind to determine to do the legwork that you need to understand what happened to our world, you have broken Mother's heart. You have. And you brought in this rickety old basket, a harlot spirit, and offered it up to Mother. There's no reason the dragoness turned on us and let you have your way. That's why she says, "Come to me, O Paean, and bring with you the true oracle. My real daughter, I want her back." Which is why you find Draco wrapped around that North Star, pointing the way home, right? And she says, return, return, O Shulamite. What might we see when the Shulamite returns? She's the one that's going to have to figure it out. Man ain't going to point her in the right direction. There is no sons to lead you home. That's what it says. I forget the verse, but it says she who had borne meant 7 daughters. Her time went down on her. The sun went down on her. She that bore 7, her time ran out. But she who has borne many sons languishes, because there is no son that can lead you home. There isn't. So she proves the fact that she is the seed of her mother, right? We prove that we are our mother's seed and that we are cut from our mother. Isaiah 51, know ye not the rock from whence ye are cut from, dear sisters? As the branches, the new scepter that is claimed by the dragoness, we come from the original root. We come from her, is what we're showing. We're showing that by being the watchers, by being the wakeful ones, watching and waiting. So we know that this is all interconnected. This is why Draco keeps coming up in our line of sight. This is why Leviathan keeps coming up in our sight. So what else can we give here? So yeah, and it also took us back to that word, the Lord 4756 in the Old Testament, and why she was able to tell Daniel about Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Now, it's not so much about all of that dream and breaking that down, so much as what the word there that defined the Lord there, Mar, M-A-R-E 4756, which meant, the actual word meant vision, sight, meaning a master, meaning to see or to look. So this was so at the time a female. Now they got it he, but this was so a female.
Destroy cardinal Earth because they don't want this to come. So, and the woman, Capricorn is female. So they don't like the woman, and they don't like Earth, and they don't like this coming age of air. They want to stay in power, which is water, and Aries still doesn't want to give up his firepower. So we see a lot of the battle of fire and water, battle of ice, fire and ice going on. But I think it's very significant that we have that number 7. 7 is used as the 7 lampstands in the book of Revelation, pertaining to the 7 wandering stars or planets. 7 is highly significant in the Bible and in culture. But look who's the 7th child of Jacob that became Israel. So the 12 tribes of Israel. Well, 12 tribes named after his 12 children. Well, his 7th child was completely negated. And who's his 7th child? Jacob, or Israel's 7th child? Dinah. Took her out because she's a woman and gave it to all of these other sons. And there we have Dan, of course, being connected to the word Dinah, just like Daniel, meaning judgment. And we've got judgment connected to that cardinal virtue card of justice or judgment that I did another video on. That would be Libra. Libra being judgment with the scales, the most high God of the sky, of heaven, of air. So this is all very interesting. Very interesting. Why is Dinah taken out here? Why is judgment taken out? What is this war against the female going on? Against femininity, against the woman? Well, it wars against the seed of the woman. It wars against the woman and her seed, we are told in the Bible, of the adversary, of Satan, of Satan. And I think it was very interesting in this write-up of Dinah here on, I went to this a Jewish woman, I guess, org site, because it's in the Old Testament, to read about the story of Dinah. And it says Rashi, I think that was a rabbi, sees a significant connection between the description of Dinah so the Bible describes Dinah as, quote, the daughter of Leah. It doesn't say the daughter of Jacob, the daughter of Israel, the daughter of Leah. And the mention of her going out to see the daughters of the land, and that's when she was subsequently captured and raped by Shechem. So here we have her tied to her mother, the woman, Leah. So Dinah is of the seed of the woman.
This is your brother L. Me being a father of a daughter, this discussion today is especially very close to my heart. This discussion today is strictly for the sisters, strictly for the Hebrew women, strictly for the melanated women, strictly for the black women, strictly for the daughters of Zion. I want this discussion to be shared with all your sisters, your mothers, your aunts, your nieces, your daughters, to empower them and to let them see through the testimony of Dinah that their nightmares can become fairy tales. I want to say this again to my sisters with as much passion as I can have in my heart. As a man with a daughter raising a young black woman in this wicked society, I really want you to understand this, you daughters of Zion. I want you to see through this testimony of Dinah that we're going to go through today, that your nightmares can become fairy tales. Because it's been a nightmare for you sisters in this society. In all the areas that we have been as a people, it's been a nightmare for you. Not just a nightmare coming from the Gentiles and what they've done, but also you've been through a nightmare from your own brothers, your own husbands, your own fathers, your own family. The men that were supposed to be a protection for you became a nightmare to you. The fathers that were supposed to be a guidance for you became a nightmare to you. The boyfriends, the husbands that were supposed to be a source of love for you became a nightmare to you. So we need to go through this testimony of Dinah to inspire and motivate the black woman, to inspire and motivate the Hebrew woman, to inspire and motivate the melanated woman. What is the testimony of Dinah? Some of you may know and some of you may know not that Dinah was the only daughter of Jacob. Jacob, who was the progenitor, the patriarch, and the father of the 12 sons of Israel, also had a daughter named Dinah. Dinah was a black woman. Dinah was a melanated woman. Dinah was a daughter of Zion and a Hebrew woman. And she's very often overlooked, just like our women are today. She's very often not spoken of. And if she is spoken of, it's in a manner that's very uninformed and very dishonorable and very disrespectful, just like many of our women today. So what we want to do is honor one of our mothers, Dinah, and talk about the testimony of Dinah and how it correlates perfectly to what our women have gone through and what our women are going through today. And at the end of this, I want you sisters to see, whether you be a mother, whether you be a daughter, whether you be a niece, a sister, whether you be a wife, I want you to see that your nightmares can become fairy tales. Hallelujah. Just like it did in the case of Dinah. I need y'all to share this with as many daughters of Zion and Hebrew women, black women, melanated women as you can. I don't care if they're Christian, Muslim, atheist, whatever the case may be, they need to hear this. Let's first begin learning about the testimony of Dinah. Let's become familiar with who she is. As I stated, she is the only daughter of Jacob. Jacob, who is the son of Isaac, who is the son of Abraham, our forefather. He had a daughter named Dinah. Let's go through this list and history so we can know who she is, so we can get into her testimony. Let's begin at Genesis chapter 30. In this chapter, it goes through the times of birth of all the sons of Jacob. We're going to pick up at verse 17 as it begins to go into talking about the birth of Dinah, who was Jacob's daughter. Verse 17 says, And the Most High hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and Jacob bare the fifth son. And Leah said, The Most High have given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, The Most High hath endowed me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. Verse 21, And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, was born. You can read about that in Genesis chapter 30, starting at verse 21. Now let's get into this Hebrew woman's, this black woman's story, so that you sisters out there can draw strength from her story, that your nightmares can become fairy tales. I've shown you here that Dinah was a princess. She was royalty, because all the sons of Jacob were royalty. Their names will be written on the gates of heaven, all the 12 sons of Israel. You can read about that in Revelation chapter 21. And Dinah is of that stock and of that lineage. So she is royalty. She is a princess. She is high status, high class. She has power. She has regency. She has elegance. She has divine strength. She has divine beauty because of the lineage that she comes from, just like many of our sisters today. Now let's go to Jubilees chapter 30, verse 1 through 7, and let's start learning about the nightmare that Dinah went through. Because many of you sisters have also been through a similar nightmare that Dinah experienced. Here's what it says in Jubilees chapter 30, verse 1 through 7. It says, And in the first year of the 6th week, he went up to Salem to the east of Shechem in peace in the 4th month. And there they carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house of Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, and he lay with her and defiled her. Listen to verse 3. And she was a little girl, a child of 12 years. A lot of you brothers and sisters did not know that, but Dinah, at the time that she was violated by these men of Shechem, was a little girl of 12 years old. I was just looking at my daughter as she walked by in the hallway, and I think how much mental anguish that would put me through if my 12-year-old daughter was raped by some heathens. Think about this for a moment. Dinah was 12 years old whenever those heathens violated her, raped her, took her. It says here in these verses that they carried her off, meaning that's a form of child abduction, just like many of our young girls are experiencing today with the sex slavery industry, with the child abductions, with the child kidnappings that are taking place. And primarily, most of these young women that are being abducted are melanated young little girls. They're black little girls that are being snatched up off the streets, all the way from Detroit, all the way over to Miami, all the way over to Los Angeles, Sacramento, all the way up to Toronto. All over the map, our sisters are being snatched up and being violated, just like Dinah was. So many sisters today have this same testimony that when they were little girls, somebody put their hands on them. Some pervert, some freak that is worthy of death violated them when they were just a little girl, just like with Dinah. Many sisters have had that happen to them by ex-boyfriends that they once trusted. Many sisters have had that happen to them by strangers. They got snatched up walking home from school. They went to a party or was staying at a friend's house, and somebody, brother or somebody father or somebody uncle did something to them right there in their own household. They had a father, uncle, brother that did something to them. Just like what happened to Dinah. This was Dinah's nightmare. And this is the same nightmare that many of our sisters have experienced and are experiencing to this day, even at young ages, like Dinah was. 12 years old, family, when this was done to her. Don't that put pain inside your soul?
In the annals of history, the tribe of Dan stands out with its enigmatic connection to serpents. Why is the serpent a symbol so closely linked to them? Originating as one of the 12 tribes of Israel, the Danites have a symbol often associated with a serpent. This symbol is based on a prophecy by Jacob in the Bible. This serpent symbol has led to various interpretations over time. Some view it as a representation of wisdom. The tribe of Dan's movements and settlements have been a subject of intrigue, with some theories suggesting they left traces of their serpent symbol across ancient Europe. The legacy of the serpent tribes of Dan continues to captivate scholars as they delve into the depths of history.
So these daughters of Zion are the 13th tribe. They're Dan, but they're mixed with, they have the right to rule, okay? Because they have blood, the blood of Jews. And the judge comes with Dan. My name actually means, Isha means woman, so it's actually woman of Dan or woman judge. So that's who these daughters are. Now, the reason why they're not listed in Revelation 7 is because they're hidden. Now I'm gonna reveal something to you guys that a lot of people are not gonna like, but hey, it's not my fault. You guys can see I'm very hesitant to say it because I know it's gonna receive a lot of backlash, but truth is true. Okay. The 144,000 listed in Revelation 7 are the husbands, okay, of these daughters of Zion who are sealed for their sake. Okay, the scripture says, not for your sake, O men of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which is my holy daughter's sake. So they are sealed for our sake. Now, these 144,000 are actually hidden as Christ. Okay, they're the Christ bloodline, the daughters of Zion. There's 144,000 female Christ walking around, and their husbands are sealed as the 144,000 in Revelations 7. And this is why when we get to Revelations 14, it tells you, and let's just get it. Revelations 14. It says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with, it's actually going to be her, 144,000, having his mother's name written in their foreheads. So what is that really saying? I say that these are men who have the mother's daughters written in the mother's daughters written in their foreheads, so in their mind. Okay, remember, the daughters are the law. I will put my law in your heart and in your mind, right? We talked about the Holy Spirit residing in the heart and in the mind as well. So but the heart is the most powerful. Okay, it produces the most powerful electromagnetic field. So so having the mother's daughter's name written in their foreheads, okay, on their mind. These women are on their mind. These are the women that they love.
Pull it together here. So in Greek mythology, Python was the serpent, the dragon, sometimes represented as a medieval style dragon. So I wanted to know what medieval style dragon was usually depicted as. And it's usually depicted as what you picture as a dragon, but with wings. It usually has wings on it. That's one of the difference of the interpretation of a medieval style dragon, I think, was one of the things. Living at the center of the earth, believed by the ancient Greeks to be at Delphi, at the womb. Delphi means womb, center of the world. So I years ago watched this special called The Lapis Lazuli, and I did find it again just this morning. So I can post the link and you can watch it. And what they don't want to tell you through all of it, what they were talking about was the divine feminine in the whole thing that they were missing, that this man Perry was missing. So my mythology, Python, sometimes written Pytho, presided at the Delphic oracle. which existed in the cult center for its mother Gaia, Earth. Pytho being the place name that was substituted for the earlier Crissa. So I do have Crissa pulled up. I don't know that we're going to go into Crissa all that much. Although, if we get out from this study, I may come back in on it if I feel I've missed, because I did look at Crissa. She was pretty important, but we have a lot of info. So Greeks considered the site to be the center of the earth, represented by a stone. The omphalos, or navel, which Python, this dragon, serpent, guarded and presided over. So what you're getting in that picture is actually a picture of the constellation of Draco. So where's Draco in my notes? That's the worst thing about taking notes. Draco, where's Draco? Maybe it's in these ones here. If Draco pulled up. Sorry. Draco was wrapped around. It's fine because I did thought I wrote it on one of these pink notes here. But Draco, of course, was said to be wrapped around the pole star, right? So you're getting the image of the pole star here that Draco is wrapped around. It's there, right? I'm sorry, I can't. There's so much info, I just cannot recall it all. And I'm sure I wrote that down in one of these, but I got so many bloody notes. Anyway, it's an image of Draco, the constellation again. It's taken us back to the Draco constellation every time. I'm certain now that we were part of the Draco constellation. And concerning the lapis lazuli special that I'm going to post underneath, I realize now, based on all of this mythology, if I don't get to it, we'll read through as much as we can, that they show the image of the Illuminati, supposedly, these men coming down out of the mountains holding a box that is glowing. And you'll get this idea of the king in the Hobbit series of movies there, the five armies, Battle of the Five Armies, that the king had this stone that would glow. And once he found that stone, he was all powerful with that stone. And it's going to take us back to Python and the slaying of this particular dragon that watched over the navel of Earth, right? And what it represents is they stole the heart of that dragon, the heart of the man. They stole the heart of the dragon, is what happens here, even though it's all about the slaying of this dragon. And it's also about a priestess. It's also about the pursuit of the law. It's about all of these things allegorized. And you're not allowed to see it. We see Apollo actually, when he goes after Python, that in allegorical terminology actually rapes the womb, is what he does. All comes together when you're doing your studies, when you're following the Spirit's lead. It does so lead you in that direction. So, what was I was driving at something there. So, yeah, again, it comes back to showing them carrying something away from the mountain. And you know what I think they carried away? I think they carried the mother's daughter away. And she became heartbroken. And she represents the Draco constellation that is so angry at us. And though it's written in the Bible like, oh, she went against us and she's come after us, we get the sense that she did, and Mother Earth does turn on us when we turn on her. You get that understanding just by looking around. Now, again, one of my commenters, Judy, and I'm sorry that this is such a crappy video, said, you know, there's men out there, who's actually got the nerve to say that the fires that's going on in LA, well, you could say that anywhere in the world, anytime, anything bad ever happens, they want to blame the fact that women are turning back to their creator, mother, right? Gaia, your mother above, who created all things. These planets is her seed. They're hers, and where she creates life. According to Gaia, also with Palingenesis is part of her ability to create life without sperm, which is not a seed. One of my other commenters said a seed don't move. A seed tends to be stationary. So we know it's the woman's seed that they attack, they went after, and we get it all wrapped up in the story of Python with the Omphalos stone, which seems to be a well of water where the priestess, also known as Pytho herself in many of the stories. So it's a really mixed up story. Some has Pytho as the priestess, some has Pytho separated as watching over the priestess, and yet it all comes together that it's basically one and the same in your understanding. But that what he stole from Draco was the eye of water that she could see through so clearly. And when you take that from her, which is representative of the dragon's daughter, Draco's daughter, she becomes very angry. Very angry. Which is why you see this idea of the Draco constellation wrapped around the North Star. It's all there in our understanding, telling us a story. And you've got to be smart enough and wise enough to want to understand with your eyes, with your ears, with your heart, with your mind. The Illuminati points at the mind. Figure it out. They're telling you, figure it out.
Here's something else that's interesting, is the worship of Dinah is also tied in to Islam as well, or the worship of the black woman is tied into Catholicism and Islam. Because you've seen the picture of the popes, how in the Vatican they have a secret room that they go into. These pictures were leaked where they have the picture of what they call the Black Madonna or the Black Mary with the black baby Messiah. You can find this picture everywhere, family, of the actual popes bowing down to worship the image of the Black Mary and the Black Messiah. This stems from the ancient world where they worship the black woman in the form of the goddess Diana, which is extrapolated from Dinah. This is facts. This is where all these Negroes are getting the black woman is God teaching from. That's an ancient teaching from Asia way back in the day where they were worshiping Dinah. Do you see this? Now, I'm going to show you how the worship of Dinah or Diana is tied into Islam as well. Let's go to Acts chapter 19, verse 35. It says, "And when the town clerk had appeased the people, he said, Ye men of Ephesus, what man is there that knoweth not how that the city of the Ephesians is a worshiper of the great goddess Diana, and of the image which fell down from Jupiter?" So the worship of Dinah or Diana is tied into them saying that a stone, a black stone, fell from the earth. Guess what, family? That same black stone that they said fell from the earth in Acts chapter 19:35 is the same black stone that's being worshipped in Mecca right now as we speak. That black stone, that Kaaba stone, where they go up to it and they kiss it, and whenever you look at the pictures of it, that Kaaba stone is in the shape of a vagina. I'm not being impure or unclean by saying this. You can do your research. They put it in the shape of a vagina and that black stone because it stems from the worship of Dinah, the worship of the black melanated woman. That is a part of Islam as well. So secretly, the Catholics and the Christians are worshiping the black woman. Right out in the open, the Muslims are worshiping the black woman by going up to kiss the black stone in the shape of a vagina. Go check this out so you can see I'm not making it up, okay? And all this, brothers and sisters, stems from the testimony of our mother, Dinah. Go look all this up if you think we're making it up. Double check my facts, double check the research, go look it all up for yourself. And I'm showing this to you sisters especially so you can see that this woman, Dinah, went from being a young girl that was raped, abused, molested, and mistreated all the way up to being worshipped. Isn't that something? And that's the same testimony of many of our sisters today. They worship you, yet they defile you at the same time. They lust after you, yet they rape you at the same time. It's a weird type of double spirit. It's a weird two-minded spirit that many of your brothers and many of the Gentiles have towards you. My sisters, they worship you, but yet they seek to defile you at the same time.